Hey guys, JHoyt here. Before this video gets started, I just want to say thank you guys for all the support on this franchise mode series. The amount of views and comments and the amount of people watching it has been crazy for our channel. So thank you guys so much for that. But of course, we've been pushing it. If you haven't yet, or if you're brand new to my channel, make sure to subscribe, go down below, turn on that notification bell so you never miss an upload. You can always change your mind later. But we got episode number 13. Let's go win a Stanley Cup. What's on, guys? JHoyt back with you. Today, welcome back to episode number 13 of our franchise mode with the Detroit Red Wings. But welcome back into this season. If you guys have missed part of any of this series, right, I have made a playlist. So go into my channel, go to the NHL 21 Detroit Red Wings franchise mode playlist. All the episodes will be in there. It'll also be at the end of the video at the end card, so you guys can just click on that, rewatch any of the videos or all of them, and rewatch the entire series. But if you guys remember last episode, we went through the off season. We kind of moved out a lot of the older pieces on our team, and I would say definitely got better. So we did make a little bit of a mistake at the start of this season, and you know, it's not too big of a deal, but still want to be fair. So here we are at the start of the season, and I accidentally simulated past the first game. So preseason went pretty well, if you ask me. A couple of players didn't really do what I wanted them to do in the preseason, get some of those points, and some of our new faces are actually showing up, which is exciting. So let's reveal you guys the first roster of the year. So in the preseason as well, on our fourth line, we had signed Kopaka. Gonna go with that one in between episodes. He ended up making his debut down there on that fourth line. But before we get to that, so we have Bertuzzi, Larkin, and Mantha. We're going to try something out new this year. You know, having that line together at least temporarily, or at least for the start of the year. Second line, Kempe, Wright, and Raymond. So Wright now secures his spot on that second line, no question about it. Raymond now moves down to that second line. So we have two really good pairs of players with Larkin and Mantha, and then Wright and Raymond. And they even have some guys on the side that can produce now. So, yeah, Kempe performed really well. I think he had like 5 points in like 5 or 6 games that we played him in. So, he definitely deserves to be there. Down on our third line, we have Zucker, Rasmussen, and Zadina. Now, Rasmussen kind of average preseason, only a couple of points, but didn't really play horribly, like not significantly minus or anything. So, again, we're going to give him a shot there on that third line. Then, obviously, Zucker and Zadina, neither of those guys. We did try out Zadina on the top two lines with a couple different pairs of guys. Just didn't produce. So, depending on how the season goes, we'll you know, reevaluate our lines at all times. So, down that fourth line, Kopaka had a couple points. Veleno and Yarncroc. All those guys, you know, didn't really do too great, but not horrible enough. One guy you don't see is Marcus Johansson. He kind of gets pushed out of the lineup for Kopaka. And yeah, he's kind of sitting as our extra forward in the NHL. On our defensive side, though, pretty straightforward. The guys kind of look exactly the same as last year. Lindholm and Timmins, Murray and Seider, Hayek and Mann. I think that's the exact same as what you guys saw, or what you probably would expect. The two young guys didn't really do too much of anything, so they got sent down to the AHL. Obviously, our two goalies, nothing changed there. And obviously, as I said before, Johansson is our extra forward. Right now, we might throw him in at a different time if someone's not really producing. Maybe we shake up some lines, maybe throw him on the fourth line. All depends on how the season goes. So one guy you might be interested in is, what is it, Declan? Don't know what it is. Barron, our first round pick from this last year. He's going to be down in the AHL because he's eligible. So I actually ended up forgetting that we had a really good pick. And obviously we had a lot of other forwards that I wanted to focus on. So he's going to start the year down here in the AHL. As far as that, we have a lot of good young players coming, lots of good defensemen, and we have a couple of really good young goalies that are looking for spots. So if someone doesn't start performing, I don't care who they are, we need to focus on production, right? If Kopaka starts absolutely dominating with points and he moves himself up the lineup, then he's going to move himself up the lineup. Because I think, the last couple of years, we've kept the lineup too straightforward, where we were kind of afraid to move anyone. So if someone doesn't perform, they could get moved. Ice time could be taken away. We'll have to see how it plays out. The rest of our lines are all set up, and we're all ready for this season. So I guess technically it's game 2, but let's get into game number 1. So we're going to take this a little bit slower than usual. Now, we're not going to go individual games or anything crazy, but we're going to take it month by month, right? That way, if any adjusting needs to happen, we can do it month by month rather than waiting like 2 months. And, so far, we're on a pretty decent track, but as soon as I say that, we lose 3 games in a row. Make that 4. So, we only have a couple more games until our first, check. So 6-4 to start off the season. Not horrible. But let's go see. Is anything abnormal? Can we fix anything? Can anything that we can adjust, can that help our team? Let's go figure that out. So as we're looking down our forwards, our top 6 seems to be not significantly minus, but a couple minus here and there. So that means we're doing okay, but, still defensively has been one of our biggest issues recently. So that's something we're going to have to watch out for. As far as points go, everyone's kind of right where they should be. Our top 6 is basically our top 6 with the exception of a couple guys here and there. Rasmussen not really doing too much of anything. Actually, that's not horrible. 3 points, play on the third line. Only one. Vlano is performing pretty decent there, but pretty straightforward as our forwards go. Over on our defensive side, who is significantly minus there? That's Hayek and Mann. What can we do about that? I don't really want to swap those guys. Sider's not really performing either, so maybe we put Mann on that second line. Not exactly sure, but Luukkonen, 3-4. What are you doing, bud? But Gorgiev, he's performing really well. 3-0 so far. Not the greatest save percentage or goals against, but still really good stats. 3-0. Obviously, we want those stats to be a little bit better, but 3-0, he's getting the wins for us. So for our second month, we actually moved Mann up to our second defensive pair with Ryan Murray. We put Johansson in on that fourth line for Kopaka. And we actually checked out our AHL team. Our AHL goaltender is actually performing extremely well. He was 8-0 with like a 950 save percentage and like a 1.1 or something like that goals against. So, if he does that, if we need a goaltender up here, I'm feeling for a little call up here. But what are we saying here? So we're on a, whoa, that's not good. 4 or 5 game losing streak. Quickly broken, though, with that Columbus game. We're maintaining the above the 500, record, but, we're still not doing significant damage in any regard. We can't really get last. Actually, we can because there's still only a couple of points in between that. So, again, just kind of another average month for us. But what seems to be the problem, right? 3-7 in the last 10. What seems to be our issue? We're going to actually make a trade in the middle of this video that I didn't really predict on making. So, Nate Schmidt over there on Carolina actually has no trade value whatsoever. So, he's actually doing really well, and he's a pending UFA this year. So, not exactly sure why, but we're going to take a chance on him and see if he can help out our squad. So, we're going to be trading away Hayek. Hasn't really been performing. He's been minus and not really playing the best defensively. So we're going to try to get a second round pick for an extra third that we have that probably, I was going to say it probably won't go through, but it does go through. And we're also helping them out with some salary cap, savings. So we're going to put him in the lineup and show you guys the other changes. Let's first start with our forward group. So first line stays exactly the same. Second line, we pop Zadina up to the second line. We move Kempe down. Kempe goes on the third line with Rasmussen and Zucker. We put Kopaka back in the lineup. We're probably going to swap him and Johansson or Johansson, in and out of the lineup, or maybe if one of our other fourth line forwards aren't really performing, then we'll probably just swap those guys in and out. On the back end, we move Mann up to the first line. We put Seider on our second line, and then Timmins went on our third line. Not for the lack of points or anything else, but mainly because he's the only one that fits on the third line. So that's going to be our right-hand defenseman. Then Schmidt is on our third line, and he fits our scheme, I don't want to say perfectly, but almost perfectly as far as where we're going to be playing him. So he's also a guy that can move up and down the lineup. And if he performs better than Murray or Lindholm, then again, we'll move him right up there. But our biggest change out of all of them, and I mean the biggest change, is in net. Now, the reason I did this is because Luukkonen is not performing well at all. So if you look at Georgiev's stats, he is 4-1 with a 907 save percentage, 2.75 goals against. So he's doing pretty good, right? As our backup goalie, he's doing as well as we want him to. But then, let's go take a look at Luukkonen. So he's only scratched. He's not traded or sent down. He's just not performing, right? Last year when he joined us, was not performing at all. This year, he's having a really tough time in net, under a 900 save percentage, above a 3.5 goals against. So something's not working with him. Don't know what it is, but depending on how our new guy in Lucas Dostal, depending on how he performs up here in the NHL, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, the numbers he's been performing in the AHL with us, 40 and 14 last year. And then this year, you can see it, 16-2, a 938 save percentage, and a 1.4 goals against is absolutely incredible. Only 25 goals allowed, and he's playing amazing, right? So we have an underperforming starting goaltender. We have a good performing backup goaltender, and then our top guy in the AHL is performing. So why not give this guy a shot up here in the NHL? And since we brought him up, and since we're a little bit short on the goaltender side, we actually offered a free agent goaltender just to give a someone else in the AHL a chance. So let's go see if another month of games is going to help us. So we got our new lineup in. We have our newly swapped around lines in there. We got our new backup goalie. Georgiev now becomes the starter. So will that help us out? We got to find out right here and now in this upcoming month or two. So we're 31 games played so far this year, and most likely towards the end of this month we'll get to that halfway point. But it seems to be we're winning some games here. So as long as we can continue winning games, I'll be a happy GM over here. So we got a little bit of a break. I guess this would be a Christmas break. And hopefully our guys can reset and win these last couple of games before it stops. And we'll have to simulate a couple more games here. What are we at? 39. So we got to go a couple more. So we'll go right here to the 8th. We got a couple of days in between that and the Philadelphia game. So we'll see where we are. A couple of wins there against Boston and Vegas. Those are big wins. What are we saying about Arizona and Calgary? We get one win and we lose another one only by 1 goal though. So let's go see what's our team doing. What are we struggling with? What do we need to fix? And of course, leading the way, Dylan Larkin. So let's go check out what our team's doing. So let's start with our forwards as usual. So Larkin, Bertuzzi, and Mantha is our top line. So Mantha kind of underperforming just a little bit. So maybe do we move Raymond up, or with the recent string of games, do we just kind of keep everything the same? That'll be a decision we'll have to make going into next episode. But then we have Wright, Zadina, and Raymond as our second line. All of those guys are doing pretty well. Kempe now down on that third line with Zucker and Rasmussen. Kind of what we expect from them. Also, our plus minus is getting a little bit better as well. So something to look out for there. Hopefully our team is turning around the defensive part. Kopaka not really doing too much of anything as far as points go. We'll have to put in Johansson for the next month as well. So Not sure what those guys are doing, but maybe we'll have to address that upcoming here. So Lindholm leading the way now. Timmins now down that third line. Schmidt gets a couple of points with us. Murray, Mann, and Sider all right around 10 points. All right, nothing too crazy going there. So I'm guessing power play seems to be an issue because our defensemen don't really have many points. So either they're passing a lot or something. So, okay, that's something. So Georgiev does improve his record. He was, 3-0. Then he was, 4-1 or something like that. So he is winning some games for us. Better save percentage. And if you just look at the comparison between him and Lukkinen as our starter, I mean, it's just better stats overall. I mean, he is getting lit up a little bit with the goals, but still, he's under that 3.0 goals against. He's still above that 900 save percentage. And Dostal seems to be doing okay. Probably got lit up in one of those games. But 2-1 overall. Definitely going to give him a little bit more time up here and see what he has to say going forward. But still, our team seems to be improving. I mean, nothing really seems to be completely wrong. I mean, maybe do we swap up some personnel on the special teams? And, we'll have to see. Let's go take a quick look at the AHL. And last time I checked, Barron actually doing pretty well. 25 points in 36 games. Shane Bowers, who we got, last year, is doing really well down there. And I think this is one of our draft picks, or maybe we signed him. I don't remember. But pretty good performance from those guys down there. I don't remember much of our other players there. On the defensive side, I mean, everyone's kind of pitching in, kind of all the same thing. All kind of doing similarly down there. Benderson's taking over. He's been outstanding. Tokarski got put into action, but the new guy we signed is actually going to go in there once we change around the lines. So not really too much to say. No one really super underperforming as far as our players go. So maybe we're losing on something like the power play or penalty kill. So right now we actually sit in the 15th overall position. However, I don't believe are in a playoff spot. So that's something to look forward to as we progress towards a trade deadline in next episode. Whether we're going to try to build up and, try to get some players that are expiring as some rentals and see how far we can go with our team. That'll be something we look for in the next video, like I said. So what's going on with goals? So 136 goals. So we're 15th overall. Where does that put us overall? So wow. Okay. So we are struggling for goals. So I wonder if that could be a strategy issue. I wonder if that could be a personnel issue. Some guys just aren't putting the puck in the back of the net. So could we... I mean, we do have a lot of two-way forwards on our team. That's something I have noticed. So maybe we get rid of like a Bertuzzi, maybe a Mantha, no more two-way power forward types, and maybe get another sniper, another playmaker, another big name playmaker that is, because those guys will go for pretty good chunk of trade value. So maybe that's something. Maybe we'll have to do a massive blockbuster trade in order to change around this team. Obviously that'll be something we have to look forward to, or maybe have to make a decision on. But goals against, 140. So we're actually, wow. So our defense is improved. We seem to be, I guess it'd be top 10, or I guess in the bottom 10, depending on how you want to look at it, of goals against. 140, we're right there with some of the best teams in the league. And it's also kind of weird seeing some of these teams that are, almost in last place in the league have, play such good defense, but whatever. But we'll continue on here. Power play percentage. I think I actually saw our team down here. Maybe, no, that wasn't. That was the Kings, I believe. So 15. Where are we? So we're not first out. New Jersey coming out of nowhere with a 30% power play. Actually, two teams are there, which is kind of surprising. So where do we sit overall in power play? There we are. Detroit. So 21.9%. Not awful, right? Anything above 20% is pretty much good, but that still puts us, middle of the pack. I mean, a couple of teams are performing super well, but we'll fast forward on. So, okay, I can already tell. Penalty kill percentage, 75.8. I can almost guarantee, that's down there. Winnipeg, number 2 overall in the league, yet they have a terrible power play. So, kind of weird there, but we still sit with a questionable penalty kill. Not the best percentages, although we're probably like 10th or so from the bottom. We definitely need to improve that. So home record 11-10, even away record 12-8-1, and the last 10 we've been improving. So, you know, our defense has been improved, but do we want to make, you know, a move to try to switch up some of our two-way forwards for some more offensive-minded guys, right? Guys that can put the puck in the back of the net, the guys that can contribute on the goal-scoring sheet. And, you know, will we make a big change like that? You know, I'm definitely going to look just to see what's out there, see who could be available, and try out some different things. But for now, we sit in an okay spot. We currently sit, what, 6th overall in our division? I guess it would be tied for 6th with one more game played than Florida. But anything could change, though, because it's only a couple of points between us and the next couple of teams. And there's only, what, that's at 9 points between us and the top of our division. So we're still in a good spot. I feel like we're going to go forward with Gorgiev and Dostal just to see what those guys can do because Lukkinen not really doing well, honestly. Like, he's not really performing. You know, do we want to give up on him and potentially maybe trade him for some really good defenseman or a really good forward? You know, what do we want to do with him? We'll have to wait and see what's out there and what kind of big trades we could make if we wanted to, because I don't want to change up anything too drastically if we don't have to too early as we approach that trade deadline where we need to figure out whether we want to try to make that run, you know, gear up, tool up, and get as many assets as we can, or do we want to, you know, maybe kind of stick with our team now, or do we want to go seller mode? Well, again, we'll have to wait and see how we do between now and that trade deadline in like a month and a half or so. So I'm going to do some off-camera work, try to see if there's any big trades we could make. You know, do we want to give up on Lukkinen? And, you know, depending on what he want to do with him, we could get someone big. So I'm super excited for next episode, but unfortunately, that's going to end it for this video here. Episode number 13. So that's going to be it for today's video. A great one as always. Looking forward to the next one. But if you did enjoy, make sure you hit that like button down below if you haven't yet. Or if you are brand new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button down there as well. Turn those post notifications so you never miss an upload. And don't forget, you can always change your mind later. But as always, guys, we'll see you in episode 14.
In the shadows.